What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Boleros. Sam here with Gab. And guys, wala na si Maui. He is on his way to his first European destination.
Sana all, Maui. Sana all.
Sana all.
Isama mo naman kami next time, Mau. Grabe naman.
Sagot ni Boleros. Wow.
Oh.
Anyway. Nakita niyo yun siguro sa title. Happy weekend, by the way, guys. Happy weekend. It's a Friday night. We're going to have very exciting games this week, and to close out the first round of UAAP Season 87, and nakita nyo na sa title, we have to talk about probably the last game of the first round, probably the most anticipated game, the battle between the top two teams, UP Fighting Maroons versus LaSalle. So we're going to do a preview of that game, and we're going to talk about 6 things, siguro let's do 6 things to watch out for in that game. All right? Sige. So Gab and I, hindi kami nag-usap. Hindi namin alam I don't know what Gab picked. Gab doesn't know what I picked. So let's get started. Sino mauna, Gab?
Before we get started, Sam, I did promise a couple of subscribers who I met during the Wednesday games that I would give them a shout out. However, ang daming nangyaring stuff sa akin right after matalo Ateneo na flat yung tire ko. Tapos inatake pa ako by a certain flying insect while conducting the episode.
Watch that previous episode. Nasa mga 55-minute mark, guys. Panoorin niyo. It's so funny.
Crazy. So I forgot all about the shout out, but I do want to shout out Ravi, who's from Ateneo, who's in college right now, and Stan.
Hey, Ravi.
Who's from UP. So I did promise a shout out, and I totally forgot because of all the things that happened to me. But hello, guys. Nice to meet you both. Nice to meet you.
Shout out.
So let's start with my first thing.
Oh
yeah. Okay.
Sige, go.
Okay. So the first thing I'm watching for the UP LaSalle game is how does UP guard Kevin Kiambao? I don't know if you had that, Sammy, but that's the first thing I'm watching out for.
I mean, that's a good pick, but I did not have that. Okay.
Well, I did not have that.
I
thought I was for sure na you had this. But yeah, I'm going with this. How do they cover Kevin Kiambao? Either to start this game, at the middle of the game, and even towards the end of the game. We've seen very different coverages from UP in the finals, in the first round of season 86. Very different. They've gone with Raylan Torres on him, a perimeter guy. They've gone with their best perimeter defender in Harold Alarcon on him. Or you can argue for a Jerry Abadiano. But si Harold Alarcon was been his main matchup even since last season. They've gone with Aldo Storculas. They've gone and
Francis Lopez in Phil Oil.
Yeah. Most recently in the Phil Oil finals, they went with Francis Lopez, which I think is the best matchup for KQ.
Same. That's what I had actually, Gab. The Francis Lopez versus KQ matchup. So anyway, go ahead.
So yun, I think Francis is the best matchup for KQ, but it will be interesting if they start him off on KQ. Will Coach Gold go immediately to Francis Lopez on KQ, or will he put Harold? Will he put Aldo Storculas? God help UP if they put Mark Belmonte on KQ. I think KQ is gonna feast on Mark Belmonte. But yeah, I expect it's gonna be one of those 4 guys. I don't expect we'll see a Gani Stevens, a Sean Alter. I don't even think they're gonna play them much in this game. But I don't expect them to be matched up on KQ. I think KQ is gonna feast and have a speed advantage over them. So para sa akin, either si Aldos or si Francis ang best matchup for KQ. So I'm interested there. When I mentioned if they will start with Francis, because we have seen Francis have foul trouble before in last season when he was starting on KQ or when he was trying to guard KQ. So maybe Coach Gold wants to avoid that, avoid Francis going into early foul trouble, yung essentially taking him out of the game. So I expect na we'll see a mix of Torres, Alarcon, Torculas, maybe a bit of Belmonte, but I hope we don't for UP's sake. So yun. And then how does KQ respond to that? That is One thing I'm very interested to see how does KQ play against certain matchups. Last season, he tried to attack from the perimeter against Harold Alarcon and Raylan Torres. Did not see much success because
Yeah.
his handle was not as tight. Harold could usually pickpocket him or tap the ball away. Has enough foot speed to match with KQ on the perimeter. So to counter, Coach Topex would usually put KQ at the post if
At the
Harold or
post.
Raylan
Yeah.
Torres was guarding him because he's taller than both of those guys. Heck, even si Aldous, you measure yung namamuscle ni KQ eh. Si Francis lang talaga yung best with strength
Yeah.
and height.
I agree.
So, how does KQ attack that? Will he try to force up every shot or to force threes now that he can't go inside against a Francis Lopez, against a Harold Alarcon, against an Aldous Torculas? Will he settle for threes? Or, para sa akin, will he go back to the KQ that we saw against UST, against Ateneo, a guy who was more of a distributor rather than a shot chucker or a scorer? You know, as we've said many times on this channel, Sammy, the best KQ is when KQ is not actually putting up all the shots on offense. It's when he's getting the other guys involved. It's when he's getting shots for Raven Cortez, shots for Henry Agonane, shots for the perimeter guys, si Boris Marisigan. He's able to collapse the defense. You pass it out to Boris for 3, to EJ Goliena, to JC Macalalag, to Earl Abadam. Is that the KQ we're gonna see? I will be scared if I was Asal, if I saw a ton of plays for KQ where KQ is just launching up every shot. That will scare me. Especially if it happens in the second half and their offense stalls and just devolves into giving it to KQ every single time just so he can score. That's gonna scare me because that's easy to read. That's very easy to read if you're Coach Gold, if you're the UP defense. You essentially know what's going to happen to LaSalle on offense. So I hope that does not become the offense of LaSalle, especially in the second half when they don't have anyone to go to. We saw it in Phil Oil, di ba?
In Phil Oil, I was going to say. Yeah.
Yeah. Jonel Policarpio essentially shit the bed in the third quarter, was very unplayable. So KQ had to go back in there, try to get LaSalle going, and by doing that, he was taking every shot. He was trying to score every single time on the court, and I don't think that's the type of offense.
Hindi siya sustainable no?
Hindi siya sustainable, mapapagod
especially
siya.
Against a UP team na matindi ang defense.
Yep. So, yun, no? I'll be very interested. I'll be on KQ Watch tomorrow.
KQ
just
Watch.
watching him how
On Sunday.
On Sunday, sorry. On Sunday, how UP covers him. Will they actually double? I mean, I think they have enough to go single coverage on KQ. But if they do double, how does KQ respond? Who gets into foul trouble from guarding KQ? Because KQ is a tough matchup. Let's just put it like that. So, yun para sa akin, I am very interested to watch KQ versus whoever UP puts on him. Sammy, reactions?
Yeah, that's a good pick. So I did not have that exact question, but this is sort of related to my first point, which is I'm looking out for certain key matchups or interesting matchups. So I had listed KQ versus Francis Lopez because the last time they met, tama ka, it was Francis Lopez who stopped KQ in Phil Oil, and that's when they started doing their run, diba? Tambak yung UP, and then when Francis switched to KQ, he was able to stop KQ and sort of stop the run of LaSalle. So Francis Lopez is my top matchup for KQ then. If I were UP, I would put him on KQ. But if you asked me for the second guy, just to answer your question, I think you picked Torculas, diba? I'm still going with Alarcon. I like, he's been able to guard KQ, although medyo may counter na nga si KQ doon. Like, he likes to get it in the post kapag si Alarcon yung nagbabantay sa kanya. But I still like, Alarcon, I wouldn't mind Alarcon guarding KQ in some possessions to start out. I think maganda din yung point mo, like if Francis Lopez will guard KQ immediately kasi sometimes si Lopez doesn't start also He likes to Coach Gold likes to put him off the bench as the sixth man. So that's a big question. Will he start in the game on Sunday? Anyway, so that's one of the interesting matchups. But actually, the top matchup that I'm looking out for this Sunday is going to be the battle of the best bigs, the best Phil foreign bigs. Kasi actually,
Man.
we've never seen Mike Phillips and QMB face each other in the preseason, diba? Mike Phillips didn't even play nung second game sa Phil Oil. Obviously, QMB came in late. So, this is the first time we're going to see Mike Phillips and QMB go head-to-head. And
this is what they got him for, QMB. This is what they got him for.
This is what they got him for. And it's so interesting kasi normally when you talk about the best big of the other team, na talagang big man center, diba? It's the Phil Foreign, the FSA. Pero with these two teams specifically, it's clearly Mike Phillips for LaSalle who's the best big, and for UP it's QMB. And they're both, if you look at like in terms of the numbers, they're kind of similar. They're both dominant rebounders. They're not the leading scorers. They don't always lead they're not scorers per se. Pero they will have games where they will dominate just because of how big and how strong or how high they jump. But that's in terms of stats. In terms of like how they play, they're sort of different. Mike is more of the energy guy, high flyer, more agile type of big, more athletic type of big, but a bit more, I would say, like still a bit more raw offensively. QMB naman is the slower big guy but more polished, more steady in the low post. So different styles.
Don't underestimate QMB's motor though. I think he has a pretty good motor.
Yeah. Definitely. But I would say Mike is quicker, diba? In terms of like quickness, Mike is quicker. But yeah, that's why I find this interesting because I think it would be a very good matchup and very exciting matchup. And kung Gilas fan ka, nagdadasal ka na parang sana maging Gilas tong dalawang to.
These two.
Imagine mo, may QMB ka na, may Mike Phillips ka pa. So, for me,
may
that's
AJ
like,
Edu, may Kai Soto.
May Edu, Kai Soto. Damn.
Pero na talaga i-retire si Japet saka si Junmar.
Oo nga, kawawa naman si Japet. So, for me, actually, that's my number one matchup. If I was looking at the matchups. Kasi I haven't seen it. And I want to see it. I'm so excited to see it. Second is the KQ versus Francis Lopez one. We talked about it. Other interesting matchups that I do want to mention. So, linampin ko na sila together when I was thinking about this. Battle of the Meh FSAs. Kasi, na-hype tayo dun sa dalawang FSAs nila, diba? Si Udodu was dominant sa Pinoy Liga. Henry Agonane, we were, nung before he joined UP, Henry Agonane, we were thinking, oh, baka ito na yung, second best big next to Precious Mamoy. And so far, it's been meh. It's been meh for them.
Very meh.
Diba? Mid. It's very mid. So, interested ako. Like, who will perform better? Who will contribute to their team? Because they haven't really made a huge impact so far. So, that's one. Another bonus. Maybe something more interesting than sa Meh FSAs or mid FSAs. The rookie matchup. And I'm going with Jacob Baila versus Doy Dungo. Two guys who I think are going to be very, very crucial parts of their team's future. Two guys that I'm pretty sure are going to be superstars of their teams. And so far, they've had flashes of brilliance. I think si Doy Dungo, the first few games, there was a game na he couldn't miss from 3, diba? Pero medyo...
Against Adamson. Hit
Adamson,
5 of 5.
5 of 5. Yun. Medyo lately, not okay lang, saks lang, hindi siya masyado nagpa-perform, not getting minutes. Jacob Baila has been steady. I think medyo underappreciated siya, probably because there are a lot of stars in UP, so you don't notice Jacob Baila, but he has been very solid as a
very
rookie. Very
surprising na he's actually getting minutes.
Yeah.
Taking minutes from guys like Alarcon, Torres, Briones.
And he's starting. I think last game lang he got into foul trouble. Kaya Alarcon got most of the minutes, like you said. But yeah, I wanna look out for this matchup. Yun. I think that's my first one. Interesting matchups. What's your second, Gap? Anything you want to say before you go to your
Yeah,
second?
I actually had the QMB Mike Phillips thing as something to watch for because I think if if you're a sucker for big men, this is a match up to watch for because
Yeah. Siyempre,
Motor
big man
Mike
ako, so
lives up to his name. He
I
has a
love
pretty good
this.
motor. You saw it in the UST game, man. He was just crashing the boards like crazy, attacking the rim with
Reckless abandon.
relentless abandon, exactly. And QMB actually, he looks slow or he doesn't look like he has a good motor, but actually he gets after it.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
uses
yeah.
his he uses his length pretty well. He's active at attacking the offensive and defensive glass. So uh, I want to see it.
Yeah.
People, I'm gonna watch for every box out between Mike Phillips
Mm,
and QMB.
that's
Who's
so
gonna box
sexy.
out?
Boxing out.
What a tough box out! Love seeing those box outs.
Who gets
uh,
more rebounds?
who gets more rebound? Who gets more offensive rebounds? Is Mike Phillips gonna dunk on QMB? You know,
Oh,
Mike Phillips has a highlight dunk almost every game. He always has a
that's
highlight
true.
reel dunk. Is he gonna have one here? Um, I'm pretty excited, man. This is the matchup that QMB, as I said, that QMB was recruited for, just to match up with the front line of LaSalle, specifically Mike Phillips. And tama ka, Sam. I'm so excited. I hope they both don't get into foul trouble so we see extended minutes from these
Yun
guys
lang.
because this is gonna be pretty exciting.
Well,
So,
kung if they get
okay.
into foul trouble, Battle of the Mid FSAs na yung susunod.
Okay.
Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so I don't want to see the battle of the mid FSH to be honest. But my second thing to watch for in this game is turnover watch for LaSalle
I had that. I
because
had that.
turnover watch. LaSalle is the number one turnover team. They have looked sloppy for long stretches in games this season. Just look at the UE game or even the FEU game. For long stretches, they are sloppy and they turn the ball over a lot. And against UP, you cannot do that. You
Exactly, yeah.
cannot turn
Mm-hmm.
the ball over against the UP
They'll
Fighting Maroons
capitalize on
because
that.
they will capitalize on those turnovers. They will run. They will get fast break points, fast break layups, threes. They feast on turnovers. And LaSalle, if you are committing 18 to plus turnovers, I guarantee you're gonna be blown out. And I'm sure a lot of LaSalle fans or LaSalle followers will agree with me. They cannot turn the ball over against UP because UP will run and UP will just blow them out of the gate. And ako, um, they have to be more disciplined, LaSalle. KQ has to rein it in the fancy passes because a lot of time, well, this has been a KQ staple since he came into the league. The fancy passes, he loves doing it. Sometimes, actually, most of the time, it's not really successful. When it happens, when it's successful, it looks good. But most of the time, it's not. So I'm interested to see if KQ will actually throw those passes often because I don't. I think UP is just gonna read those. The other guys also, the perimeter guys, how composed are they gonna be when they're pressured? Because UP is gonna pressure, UP is gonna trap, UP is gonna be physical, UP is gonna be swiping, bumping. This is how UP plays. This is how UP has played since Coach Gold has taken over this team. And will Rosal be rattled? Evanele was mostly not rattled by the LaSalle pressure, by the UP pressure for most times, no? But if they don't have an Evanele, is Lian Ramiro gonna step up? Is
Yeah.
Earl Abadam, JC Makalala gonna withstand that UP pressure? Because they can't let KQ bring up the ball. As I said, my first point, they can't let KQ bring up the ball, run pick and roll with him, launch threes, set up everyone. They can't let KQ do everything. So they have to withstand that pressure. And if they don't, it's going to lead to turnovers. And we cannot have that. We cannot have turnovers against this UP team. Sam, I'm sure you agree. This is a big thing for LaSalle. This is probably the number one thing that they should limit for for themselves. They have to limit their turnovers. Go ahead.
Yep. I agree 100%. In fact, that is also my number 2 point. Iba lang yung pag-phrase ko nung question. So mine was, who will play point guard for LaSalle? Kasi, you said it, Gab. It's always been LaSalle's problem, diba? That's why they tried to recruit Lian Ramiro. They tried KQ at the point. But it's okay to experiment. Okay lang naman yung parang you try to mix it up. You listed the guys that have played point for LaSalle in the season so far. Marami na. They've been very experimental with it. Pero playing against other teams is different from playing against UP. Kasi UP has the deepest and number one, they have the best point guard in JD Kagulangan. Number two, they have the deepest guard rotation. Kita mo nga hindi naglaro si JD Kagulangan against UST. Probably the other team with the deepest guard rotation. And they didn't need JD Kagulangan in that game. Second, UP, as you mentioned, UP likes to pressure a lot. They will pressure your guards and force a lot of turnovers. And LaSalle is number one in turnovers. So, who will play the point guard or who will be the ball handler for this LaSalle team against UP? Kasi it's going to be very different from how they've played with the other teams in the past. Just ask Josh David. The last time he played point guard against UP, he had 7 turnovers. And then he didn't play na after that. Dahil natakot siya sa UP. Hindi, joke lang. Na-injure siya. But,
Ay, grabe!
the joke lang, Josh David. I love Josh David, by the way. So, just ask Josh David. Ako, honestly, before that game before UP, I really thought Josh David, instant number 1 point guard for LaSalle. And then that happened against UE. And then, dun din ako napaisip, parang, wala pala sila talagang point guard, no? Na ipapalit kay Evanele or kahit kay Mark Nonoy. Paano yun? Ganun. Talagang it made me doubt eh. Even, na-mention mo si Paulie, who we were praising the whole preseason na, uy, ang galing na ng ball handling skills niya, whatever. And then, he goes up against UP and then he just suddenly forgets how to dribble the ball. Just ask Fortsky Padrigao, again, JD Kagulangan did not play. Fortsky Padrigao is probably the best point guard in that game and the second best point guard in the UAAP. But he also had so much trouble playing against UP. That UP defense, that UP guard rotation. So, actually, this is not what to watch out for, but I'm really worried about LaSalle. And hopefully, someone will step up or hopefully Coach Topex has a strategy, has a plan in mind. Kasi this will sort of give LaSalle an idea or a blueprint on how to go up or how to strategize against UP because they're probably going to face them in the finals. So they need to figure this out. Kasi in Phil Oil, I don't think they were able to figure it out, honestly. So yeah, I 100% agree with that. With what you said, guys.
So I agree with your second point. Very similar, I think, to one of the things I listed here is the supporting cast of LaSalle. Outside of Phillips and KQ, where else are they going to get offense? I think it's going to be up to the perimeter guys. JC Makalalag has to be aggressive when it's kicked out to him. Has to be aggressive attacking the basket. Boris Manasigan, we've seen him be aggressive at attacking the basket. They have to be that. They have to be aggressive without turning the ball over, but they have to be aggressive and try to get some points outside of Mike Phillips and KQ. So I do agree LaSalle has a ton of good guards and wings, but will they actually contribute in this game against a vaunted perimeter rotation of UP? So can they step up? Can Erla Badam hit some threes? Which puts me to my third point is 3-point watch.
3-point watch. I like that. I didn't have that. I like that pick.
3-point watch. In LaSalle's lone loss against UE, they struggled from 3. Just put it that way. They
Mm-hmm.
could not hit anything from three. UE hit everything. I think Carl, one of our most common subscribers in the comments, did say that LaSalle's 3-point rate is down this season. Their attempts are down, their makes are down, their percentages are down. Even sa KQ, his percentages are down.
Yeah, KQ
Uh, I think a lot of it also has to be the exit of Nonoy and Nele. Because those guys are 3-point chuckers. They will chuck 3-point shots with reckless abandon. Diba? Mark Nonoy,
sometimes
ano?
sometimes mumurahin mo pero sometimes yayakapin mo, hahalikan mo sila
Oh.
dahil pasok lahat.
So I think that's part of it why the attempts and the makes are down for this season, because two of their highest 3-point shot chuckers are now gone. So no one is essentially doing that. Going to fast breaks, just pulling up from free. No one's that player. Si KQ lang siguro yung high volume 3-point shooter dito. So, yun, no? UP is the best 3-point shooting team by percentage.
Sorry, just to add, Escandor din. Escandor was
ayun pala.
shooting percentage wise was a hot 3-point, but was best 3-point shooter for LaSalle last year.
Thank you for adding into the conversation. So yeah, they lost 3 shooters, LaSalle did, so that's why it's down. Are they gonna make enough threes? Because UP is the highest, is the top 3-point shooting team in terms of percentage in the UAAP. They're gonna have a ton of open threes because they like to collapse defenses. They like to find to move the ball and find the open man. They have Terence Fortea, who has had a resurgence of a season.
Has been a revelation.
Mm-hmm. So, who's gonna win the 3-point battle? I think that's gonna be
I love that.
Another key thing. I would bank on UP to win the 3-point battle. And so, how can LaSalle respond? LaSalle cannot hit less than 5 threes and expect to win in this game. I think they have to shoot more threes and make a lot more. Guys like EJ Goliana, JC Macalalag, Earl Abadam, Lian Ramiro, KQ, especially because he's gonna put up a ton of shots up there, have to make threes. That's the only way they're gonna open up the floor. They're gonna make space for guys like Mike Phillips and KQ and even Raven Cortez to get shots near the rim. Because if they start missing from free, that UP defense is gonna shrink. And it's gonna be harder for them to get inside baskets. So the 3-point shot, the 3-point shooting, something I'm watching. And on my end, how does UP close out? Sorry, I'm a sucker for seeing guards or defenders and how they close out on shooters. Are they gonna close out aggressively on these LaSalle shooters, or are they gonna anticipate the drive and close out softly? You could see this. Will LaSalle go small so they can open up the floor? Remember, against NU, they put KQ at the 5. It opened everything up for them, created a ton of mismatches, and essentially allowed them to score more points, allowed them to get more open threes. Will we see that? Will we see Coach Topex gamble and say, okay, they have one big, they have one center out there, we're going to go small, we're going to go fast, we're going to shoot a ton of threes? Will we see that? We've barely seen it. Not since the NU game have we seen Coach Topex go with that lineup of KQ at the 5 and just wings around him, wings and guards around him. So will he go that way? Let's see. Very interesting. Just so they can open up the floor and create space for each other. So that's something I'm watching. 3-point shooting.
Would you say if LaSalle won the 3-point shooting battle, surprisingly, does that mean like panalo sila? Like if they win the 3-point battle, sa tingin mo mananalo LaSalle?
I would say it's a 70 to 80% chance that they would win if they won the 3-point battle. Convincingly.
Convincingly, hindi lang one difference or something.
If they won 3-point battle convincingly, it means they're finding a ton of open shots. They're creating a lot of space. They're scoring more points. Very important, of course. Threes are points. They're scoring more points and others are getting involved. So, I'd say yeah, Sam. Mga 70 to 80% chance para sa akin na if LaSalle won the 3-point shooting battle, they will win this game. Go.
Okay. Okay. Ano na tayo? Third point? Hindi ko na alam.
Your third point.
Yeah. Okay. This is it's not matchups. It's not about matchups, but I guess just guys that I'm rooting for. No, which role player or unexpected player will break out in this game? And what we know for sure is this UP versus LaSalle game is going to be jam packed. All the fans are going to be there. It's the most anticipated game of the first round probably. Although yung UE Adamson is going to be interesting also. But obviously people are going to fill MOA Arena. And when I was trying to pick yung role player, an unexpected player to break out for this game, I sort of picked two guys that loves to feed off the crowd's energy. So my pick is for LaSalle, it's EJ Goliena. He's an energy guy. He has been a solid contributor to this LaSalle team. Better 3-point shooter now, not afraid to drive when people close out on him. He has that driving, slashing ability, and is sort of like, kita mo naman he's kind of ripped, diba? So is an underrated rebounder for a guy not so big. He's a very underrated rebounder. And I feel like he's the type of guy that feeds off the energy of his team, of the crowd. So I feel like I'm picking Goliena as one of the unexpected since medyo contributor naman siya, breakout player of this game. On the other side, I mentioned them earlier. For UP, I think it's Jacob Baila. We've talked about him. Like, remember that first game against Ateneo, he hit his first shot, tas parang grabe yung sigaw ni Jacob Baila. This guy is a very intense guy. And that nothing against that, but I actually love it, yung energy niya and yung intensity niya. And a lot of people, when they talk about the UAAP, they talk about yung iba yung atmosphere kapag rivalry game siya. People talk about their first Ateneo LaSalle experience. And this is definitely like a new rivalry, diba? Because these are the top two teams. They battled each other in the finals last season. So I think it's going to be a very different type of experience or energy for Jacob Baila. And I think he's gonna feed off of that crowd, that energy. Lalo na pag humahabol na yung UP, nagra-run na. Put me in for like a couple of Jacob Baila 3-point shots. Tapos sisigaw na yan. So I have these two guys as my unexpected breakout players of the game. Ikaw ba, Gab? Like, do you agree or do you have like a pick kung sino sa tingin mong out of nowhere hindi mo in-expect?
Someone who's similar to your picks. Someone who feeds off a crowd, feeds off energy, and my angas, CJ Austria. Remember, he played a really good game.
I forgot about him. Nakalimutan ko na siya kasi he's been injured. Yeah.
He just came back a couple of games ago.
Yeah.
Remember in Phil Oil, in the first half, he carried LaSalle in the first half of that Phil Oil finals.
Mm-hmm.
He was driving endlessly, going on
hitting
fast
threes.
pace, hitting threes, you getting end ones. So can we see that same type of aggressiveness from CJ Austria?
That's a good pick.
As I said earlier, you said earlier, the supporting cast has to step up for LaSalle. It can't be KQ and Mike. So is CJ Austria gonna be that guy? Is EJ Goliena, JC Macalalag, Earl Abadam, Lian Amino, ang dami. But who? So ako, si CJ Austria, he also has some beef with some of those UP players on the other side.
Yeah.
So nawala na yung co-angas buddy niya na si Jonel Policarpio. So I think he's gonna put on the... Nawala na rin si Joaquin Manuel.
Oo nga, no?
The ultimate
Brusco Brothers. The Brusco Brothers.
The ultimate instigator on this LaSalle team. So, yung CJ Austria is that guy. So, will CJ Austria bring some beef with him? You know?
Give me some rib eye.
Is he gonna go face-to-face with Raylan Torres, with Harold Alarcon, with the Francis Lopez? Si Francis...
Jerry Abadiano.
Jerry Abadiano, si Francis, medyo temper boy din tong si Francis eh.
Totoo yan.
So, yeah, we'll see, no? We'll see that angas man. So, I like that. You put me down for CJ Austria, yung being that role player to feed off the crowd, to feed off the energy of the game.
Okay, before we end, anything, may mga, maybe just run through other like things to watch out for that we missed for you?
Ako the fouls is yung situation. Actually, the refs.
Refs. More of the refs, yeah. Okay.
How are they gonna call this game? Are they gonna call it tight? Because we know by now that UP loves to play physical. They love to play physical. They love to gamble. They love to bump. They love to hack away. They love to reach. Sometimes the refs let them do it. Sometimes they don't. So how will the refs call that? And there have been instances in the past where the tight calls have affected UP because now they're less aggressive on defense. They're less willing to gamble. They're less willing to bump. How will that affect them? Same thing on the other end, yung for Lasal. There are times for this season that Mike Phillips has gotten quick fouls. KQ has gotten quick fouls. The perimeter defenders, Lian Ramiros and EJ Goliana, have gotten quick fouls. So how will the refs call this? How will the refs control the emotion of the game? There's going to be a ton of emotion in this game. The arena is
for sure. It's going to be intense.
The arena is going to be packed. Diba? So how are they going to handle the pressure? How are they going to handle the emotions in this game? I will be very surprised if you don't get some technical fouls. I'm sure there are going to be some face-offs here and there. May technical foul for taunting. That's going to happen. May improper bench decorum. Put me down for that.
Bawat warning shot.
So I'm sure there's going to be something like that. The beef is real between these two teams. I'll be very surprised if this is going to be a blowout. I'll be very surprised. It's going to be a close game. Maybe someone will pull away in the fourth, but I'll be very surprised if this is a 20-point or 30-point blowout. I'd be very surprised and very disappointed if that happens because, who wants to talk about a 20 and 30-point blowout? We'll be doing an episode, by the way, on Sunday. Yeah. We'll be reacting to it no matter what. But
no matter what happens.
Very sad if it's a blowout. I'll just be very sad and disappointed if it's a blowout. Yeah. As a non-partisan, I mean, I'm Atenean.
We're in it for the excitement.
I'm in it for just the basketball.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, sa akin, just 2 quick points. Concerned about UP's slow starts. In the previous games, they have started out slow. So maybe one thing to look out for UP. The second one, I think, is adjustments sa coaching strategy. So these are the top 2 coaches also. Obviously, they're well coached. Who will make the necessary adjustments, especially in the second half. Kasi normally, like, Lasal will make a run in the first half. Coach Gold will make an adjustment in the second half. How do they counter each other? So those are the other things that I would be interested
Last pala, is JD gonna play?
That's a big question. But I do think probably.
I mean,
that's probably why he didn't play against UST.
He was just sick lang daw. And I saw him on the bench. He was just munching on something. So I think he's fine.
He's fine.
I mean, I would be very surprised if he didn't play in this game.
Yeah.
Let's put it that.
Okay. That's it for today's episode. Hope you like that.
Before we go, Sam. Before we go. Before we go, we did have a comment just recently an hour ago or something asking us if we can do some questions and answer some personal questions. So we are opening stuff up for that. It's going to be the end of the first round. I think there's going to be a week-long
gap. There's going to be a break, yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be a break before the second round. So if you have any personal questions or anything questions.
Actually, any question. Doesn't have to be personal.
Any question.
Questions.
It can be about the UAAP, about life in general. Wag lang yung disrespectful or toxic na question. Come on. Yung walang ganon. So you can put it in the comments It can be for all of us. It can be for just one person. It can be for Maui. We'll try to give it to him when he comes back. You could put in the comments, or if you want, you can email us at phboleros@gmail.com if you're shy to put it in the comments. Just have some questions for us. Like, ano yung favorite bigote maintenance ni Sammy? Parang ganun.
Routine. Yeah, just send in
So,
your questions. We'll try to collect them and we'll read them during the break probably, no? Kapag wala tayong mapag-uusapan. Okay,
okay.
send them in. That's it for today's episode. Comment down below your thoughts, your inputs from the UP versus LaSalle game this coming Sunday. What you're most excited about, what you're watching out for. Let us know if you're watching the game this week. And don't
Get ready
forget,
for the
like.
parking.
Oo nga. Punta kayo maaga, guys. Yun yung tip. Like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. We'll see you again on Sunday after the game. Pag-uusapan natin yan. Bye-bye.